everybody. Welcome to Katie in the Morning. I'm Katie Page, Director of Member Relations at the National Association of Healthcare Assistants. You hear us use the word professional a lot at NACA. Professional, professionalism, reaching your full potential as a professional, being a professional CNA. But what happens when you get to that level of you're doing everything, I mean everything in a professional way while you're on the floor? You know, you're taking care of your residents, you're reporting to your charge nurses, you're attending the QAPI meetings, you're going to care plan meetings as well. So what can you do to kind of level up your professionalism? How to reach that next level of your profession. I have a few tips here for you today to kind of set that process into play. The first thing that you're going to want to do first thing that you're going to want to try and practice on a daily basis is not to turn and run, meet challenges head on. Keep in mind that overbearing family members may be compensating for their feelings. What I mean by that is you may have, we all have that family member that comes in is just constantly complaining or demanding things or wanting your attention the moment you walk in the door, or the one that talks forever and you can never get away from. We have to keep in mind the things that they're feeling, the things that they're experiencing. This may be a son that cared for his mother for 10 years at home, and then she got to the point where he couldn't care for her anymore. That is a big, big, big sacrifice on his part to have to admit that somebody else is going to have to care for his mom because he's physically unable or financially unable to do so at home anymore. So that's one of the things you really have to keep in mind. Rather than turning and running from those family members or hiding in somebody else's room when you see them walk in the door, meet them head on with a smile on your face. Let them know, hey, your mom did awesome this morning when I got her up, or if there's anything like medical or changes in their disposition, make sure that you're letting the nurse report that stuff to the family member rather than you doing it yourself, because that's technically not in the scope of practice of a CNA. But just by giving them that person that they can go to and know will talk to them will kind of set that at ease a little bit, and know that they have somebody that they can rely on to care for their loved ones in a way that they would as well. The second one, when it comes to not turning and running, and this is a big one for everybody, is state. I don't think there's any more words needed after that one, but we just have to remember that they're in there to do their job just like we are in there to do our job. They don't want to stay any longer than they have to, just like we don't want them to stay any longer than they have to. So by, bringing this confident caregiver to them and saying, hey, I've been waiting 11 months for you to come check out my hallway. Let's go check it out. Or just having that confidence about you, they are going to take less time looking into you, so to speak. I'll give you guys a perfect example. Must have been about 8 or 9 years ago, I worked in the restorative department at a facility in Iowa, and state walked in the door 2 days after my supervisor had left. It was my third day by myself in the therapy department. But by showing them the relationship that I had with those residents and the amount of information that I had stored in my head about everything about their daily routines, I'm not kidding you, they probably spent maybe 10 minutes tops with me the entire time that they were there. And they were actually stationed in my department, doing their reviews at a table in the therapy department while I was there. So they really had no quarrels about anything that I was doing, because they saw me interacting with the residents, they saw me getting my job done, and they saw that confidence in me. So they just pretty much just left me alone, went about their business while I went about mine. So definitely think about that. When state is walking your door, don't get nervous. This is your time to shine. This is your time to show them that you are a professional caregiver. The last thing when it comes to building your professionalism is setting your personal goals. My mom, Mary Jane Moffitt, was on a segment of Katie in the Morning not too far back from now. And she talked about, she's been a CNA for over 40 years. She's the one who trained me 15 years ago. And she had said something while she was here, and I actually think I put a quote on it on Facebook, that she said, the day that she finds out that she can't learn something new every day is the day that she shouldn't be a CNA anymore. So that's one of my personal goals is to constantly learn and constantly evolve as a caregiver. With industry that is constantly evolving, there should be absolutely no problem doing that. But with CNAs, the hardest part about us getting that information is waiting for an employer to provide it to us. We are now in a time frame where we necessarily don't have to wait for somebody else to provide us with that. There is so much information that is literally at the tips of our fingers on that almighty cell phone that we carry around all day, or the laptop that we check Facebook every night before we go to bed. If you have questions during the day, or somebody mentions something to you that you don't know a whole lot about, just jot it down and then look it up on the web when you get home. By educating yourself, you are kind of arming yourself with tools to better the future of other people. And I mean that as mentors too. The more you know, the more you can teach. And the more you teach, the more people can retain. And the more they retain, the better care that they give. And I could go on and on with that domino effect, but I think you guys get the point. Now, I want to bring you guys some tools that you can use when you're kind of stepping up your game as a professional. The first one is the confidence, the way that you present yourself. We already kind of talked about that a little bit. But even in job interviews, or if you're looking for future endeavors, when you walk into that interview and you've got your head up and a smile on your face, and to the end of here's another example of that. I went into an interview once. I didn't necessarily take the job, but by the time I left the interview, I was telling my interviewer things that they had no idea what was out there. So that she, before I even left, was like, you can start here tomorrow if you want to. I want you to put this program in place. I want you to put this program in place. But just by using that confidence and that sort of spillover of knowledge that you have is definitely going to work to your advantage as a caregiver. The second thing you might want to think about doing as a professional CNA is make that resume. Keep it on hand with you, even if it's not for a job interview, but there's several like volunteer programs that are looking for educators out there. By creating an interview resume, you have all your information right there in the 2 to 3 page document that people can just kind of flip through and say, yes, this is the right person. This is the person that we want, or we may be looking for somebody else. It'll also be a time saver for you, especially if you're looking for new employment. If you're not sure on how to build a resume, there's plenty of templates out there on the web once again. Or if you have any questions or kind of need that strategic form to put a resume together, definitely reach out to us at NACA, and we'd be happy to help you put that resume together. The next tool you could use when you're kind of building your professionalism is business cards. Now, I know what you're thinking out there, Katie, we're CNAs, we don't use business cards. Well, if you're saying that, then you ought to. I've been doing this for years. I mean, years. It doesn't have to be anything specific like your cell phone number, your address, how many kids you have, what colors you wear on Wednesdays type of thing, but just sort of something that you can hand to family members, especially for new residents or new, what are they called? What are they called in the new age groups? New neighbors, I guess it's called, just to hand them so they have something tangible. I'll give you guys an example of this one too. You're probably exampled out, but I promise this is the last one. We had a resident up in Iowa once again when I was working at a facility up there who had extremely bad anxiety. I mean, extremely. I mean, you brushed her teeth in the wrong order. If she got dressed before she brushed her teeth, her whole day was set off, and there was no calming her down after that. And it was about her third day there. Her daughter came in every single night to help her and help us get her ready for bed. About the third day that she was there, her daughter wasn't going to be able to make it because of a program that her granddaughter had at school. And I had handed her my business card. It just said my name and what hallway I worked in, the facility number. And she called that night to let us know that she wasn't going to be able to make it and to kind of prepare her mom for that. And the charge nurse who normally worked that hallway wasn't there, so she had no idea who she was supposed to talk to. Reached down, grabbed my business card, and said, well, is Katie working tonight? Yes, she is. Well, may I speak with her? So she gave me the phone, told me what was going on. I went in, explained it to her mom, let her know that I was going to be there to help her tonight, and it really helped that situation, and it gave her daughter the confidence and that kind of relief that somebody was going to be there and that her mother knew in advance that she wasn't coming. So those business cards can come in very, very handy. It's also something that you can, if you want to put your personal information on, you can attach to a resume and turn it in a new employer as well. And then the last thing that you're going to want to think about when building your professionalism is the follow through. If you say you're going to do a shower at 10 o'clock, do the shower at 10 o'clock. If you say you're going to be back in 10 minutes, which we really don't like to use that phrase because, once again, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 minutes, make sure that you're back there in 10 minutes. If you say you're going to pick up a shift, show up for the next shift. If you say you're going to help out in the laundry department, help out in the laundry department. It's just kind of a confirmation that you are somebody who you can rely on, who they can rely on. So there's my tips for you guys today. I thank you guys all for joining me, and I will see you right back here tomorrow for Katie in the Morning.